Welcome to Fenora Finance Story. Today, we're stepping away from the loud, flashy displays of wealth often seen on social media to explore a deeper philosophy. We're diving into the heart of Japan, a nation that has mastered the art of quiet wealth through centuries of tradition and modern financial discipline. In a world obsessed with more, the Japanese concept of wealth focuses on enough and the intentionality behind every single yen or dollar spent. Quiet wealth isn't about deprivation, it is about building a fortress of financial security that doesn't need to shout to be felt. Have you ever wondered why some of the wealthiest individuals in Tokyo walk to work or carry a simple bento box for lunch? It's because they understand that true financial independence is a psychological state as much as it is a numerical one on a bank statement. Today, we explore 10 Japanese money habits that will transform your relationship with money, moving you from mindless consumption to strategic accumulation. We will analyze these habits through the lenses of macroeconomic trends, behavioral psychology, and the shifting landscape of the 2026 global economy. By the end of this series, you will have a blueprint for building a legacy that is both sustainable and profoundly satisfying. Let's begin our journey into the 10 habits of quiet wealth, starting with a tool that has empowered households for over a century. Habit number 1, the Kakeibo. Developed in 1904 by Hani Motoko, Japan's first female journalist, this is more than just a budget. Kakeibo translates to household financial ledger, but it is truly an exercise in mindfulness and self-reflection regarding our daily habits. Unlike digital apps that automate everything, Kakeibo requires you to physically write down your income and expenses, creating a tactile connection to your wealth. This physical act triggers a psychological pause, forcing you to confront your spending choices before they become autopilot regrets. Every month, Kakeibo asks 4 essential questions. How much money do you have? How much would you like to save? How much are you spending? And the most important question of all, how can you improve? This creates a cycle of continuous improvement, or kaizen, for your wallet. In our fast-paced 2026 digital economy, where one-click purchases are the norm, the Kakeibo serves as a vital friction point against impulse. Research in behavioral economics suggests that slowing down the transaction process reduces the pain of paying, making us more conscious spenders. When you categorize your spending into needs, wants, culture, and unexpected, you start to see the narrative of your life through your receipts. Are you spending on things that truly bring you joy, or are you just filling a void left by a stressful workday or social pressure? By using the Kakeibo method, Japanese households often see a 20 to 30% increase in their savings rate within the first few months. Imagine what a 30% boost in your investment capital could do when compounded over the next decade in the current market. The Kakeibo isn't about restriction, it's about alignment. It's making sure your money goes where your values actually live. It's the foundation of quiet wealth, knowing exactly where you stand so you can move forward with absolute confidence and zero anxiety. Transitioning from the ledger to the lifestyle, we arrive at our second habit, which addresses the very material we interact with daily. Habit number 2, Mottainai. This is a word that encapsulates the regret felt when something is wasted without reaching its full potential. It is a philosophy rooted in the belief that objects have souls, or at the very least, deserve respect for the resources used to create them. In a financial context, Mottainai is the ultimate defense against the throwaway culture that drains the bank accounts of the middle class. It's about looking at your possessions and your capital and asking, am I extracting the maximum value from this resource? Think about the subscriptions you don't use, the food that goes bad in the fridge, or the clothes sitting in your closet with tags still on. These are Mottainai moments, leaks in your financial bucket that, when plugged, create the surplus needed for serious wealth building. The Japanese approach to Mottainai extends to maintenance. If you take care of what you have, you don't have to replace it as often. This reduces your lifetime cost of ownership for everything, from your smartphone to your vehicle and even your home. In the 2026 economy, where resource scarcity and inflation are constant themes, being a master of Mottainai is a competitive advantage. It's the difference between someone who needs a 100K salary to feel rich and someone who builds $1 million net worth on 60K. Mottainai also applies to your time and energy. Are you wasting your most valuable assets on low-return activities or toxic distractions? By respecting the soul of your time, you invested in skill acquisition, relationship building, and strategic market research. When you live by Mottainai, you stop being a consumer and start being a steward of your own financial ecosystem. This habit builds a mindset of abundance because you realize how much you already have, reducing the urge to buy more for status. Now that we've mastered the ledger and the philosophy of waste, let's look at how the Japanese manage their liquid cash and savings. Now that we understand the mindfulness of the ledger and the philosophy of waste, we must address the structure of our cash flow. This brings us to habit number 3, the 70-20-10 rule, but with a specific Japanese twist that prioritizes stability over speculation. In Western finance, we often hear about the 50-30-20 rule, but the Japanese model traditionally leans more heavily into the quiet wealth fortress. We allocate 70% of income to essential living expenses, ensuring that our lifestyle never exceeds a sustainable threshold, regardless of income spikes. This 70% isn't just about bills, it's about maintaining a Goldilocks zone where you have everything you need and nothing you don't. The next 20% is strictly for the future. This is your yen for tomorrow, focusing on high-quality investments and emergency liquid reserves. Why 20%? Because in a deflationary or stagnant growth environment, which Japan has navigated for decades, cash and steady accumulation are king. This discipline creates a massive psychological buffer against market volatility, allowing you to sleep soundly while others panic during economic shifts. Finally, the remaining 10% is allocated to the spirit, investments in culture, self-improvement, or small luxuries that provide high emotional yield. This breakdown prevents lifestyle creep, a silent killer of wealth, where your spending rises exactly in tandem with your promotions. By fixing these ratios, you automate your discipline, turning financial success into a structural certainty rather than a monthly struggle. Think of it like the architecture of a Japanese pagoda. It is built with enough flexibility to sway in an earthquake, but enough rigidity to stand for centuries. In the context of 2026, where interest rates and inflation fluctuate, having a fixed ratio provides an anchor for your long-term planning. Most people fail at building wealth because they try to save what is left after spending, rather than spending what is left after saving. The 70-20-10 rule flips the script, ensuring your future self is paid first, with the highest priority and the most respect. We see this reflected in Japanese macroeconomic data, where household savings rates often remain resilient even during periods of low global confidence. It's a collective cultural understanding that a high savings rate is the ultimate form of national and personal insurance. When you adopt this ratio, you aren't just managing money, you are designing a life that can withstand any external economic storm. You are building a margin of safety, a concept championed by great investors like Benjamin Graham, but practiced daily by Japanese families. This structural habit creates the surplus capital necessary to engage with our fourth habit, which elevates spending to an art form. Habit number 4, the Shokunin Mindset. In Japan, a shokunin is a master craftsman who dedicates their life to one pursuit. When applied to money, this means becoming a craftsman of spending, where every purchase is viewed as a vote for a better world. Shokunin spending is the antithesis of the cheap and disposable culture that dominates modern retail and ruins personal balance sheets. It is the belief that buying one high-quality item that lasts 20 years is infinitely superior to buying 10 items that last 2. This is cost-per-use thinking taken to the extreme. If a $500 coat lasts 20 years, it costs you only $25 a year. Compare that to a $50 fast fashion jacket that falls apart in 6 months, you are actually paying more for a lower quality experience. The Shokunin Mindset encourages us to support artisans and local businesses, seeing our capital as a tool for community stability. In 2026, as we see a resurgence in the quiet luxury trend, the Shokunin habit is becoming a status symbol of the truly wealthy. It's not about the brand name, it's about the stitch, the material, the longevity, and the story behind the product. This habit requires patience. A shokunin would rather save for 2 years to buy the perfect tool than settle for a mediocre one today. This delayed gratification is the secret sauce of wealth. It trains your brain to value quality and durability over instant dopamine hits. Apply this to your investments as well. Are you trading for a quick buck, or are you crafting a portfolio of high-quality assets? A shokunin investor looks for companies with moats, durable competitive advantages, and holds them with the patience of a master woodworker. They understand that compounding is a slow, methodical process that cannot be rushed, much like the seasoning of fine timber. When you spend like a shokunin, your home becomes a collection of meaningful stories rather than a warehouse of forgotten clutter. This clarity of environment leads to a clarity of mind, which is essential for making high-level financial and business decisions. You stop being a victim of marketing and start being a curator of your own existence, choosing only what adds genuine value. This habit builds quiet wealth because your assets are often invisible to the untrained eye, but represent immense intrinsic value. It's about owning your possessions rather than letting your possessions own you and your hard-earned time. As we master the art of the ratio and the craft of the purchase, we prepare to tackle how the Japanese view social obligation and giri. Beyond our ledgers and our purchases lies a complex web of human connection that the Japanese call giri, or social obligation. In Western individualism, we often view wealth as a solo achievement, but the Japanese understand that wealth is deeply communal. Giri is habit number 5, which is the practice of investing in relationships through reciprocal gift-giving and acts of service that strengthen the social fabric. Financially, this might look like a cost, but in the realm of quiet wealth, it is the ultimate form of social insurance. When you honor your social obligations, you are building a reservoir of goodwill that can support you during unforeseen economic downturns. Think of it as a diversified portfolio of human capital. The more you contribute to your network, the more resilient you become. In the 2026 gig economy and fragmented job market, having a Giri mindset makes you the first person people think of for opportunities. It's not about networking for selfish gain. It's about the ethical responsibility to support those who have supported you in the past. This habit teaches us that money is a tool for connection, not just a scoreboard for personal ego or isolated accumulation. There is a specific budget for giri in Japanese households, ensuring that social participation doesn't lead to financial strain or resentment. By planning for these social taxes, you remove the anxiety of unexpected wedding gifts or community contributions from your monthly budget. It aligns with Adam Grant's research in Give and Take, proving that givers often reach the top of the success ladder. A quiet wealth builder knows that a lone wolf is vulnerable, but a person integrated into a thriving community is invincible. Giri also extends to the professional world, honoring contracts, paying suppliers on time, and going beyond the bare minimum for your clients. This builds a reputation of financial integrity, which is a currency that never devalues, even when the central banks are printing. In an era of AI and automation, this high-touch human element of ethical obligation is becoming a rare and valuable business asset. We must view our social spending not as a drain on our net worth, but as an investment in our net work. When everyone in a system practices Giri, the velocity of money increases, and the entire community experiences a lift in prosperity. It is the invisible hand of social harmony, ensuring that wealth flows toward those who treat it with respect and shared purpose. With our social capital secured, we must now turn our attention inward to the physical and digital spaces where our money lives. Habit number 6, Oosouji. While many know it as the great cleaning before the new year, its financial implications are profound. Oosouji is the ritual of clearing out the old to make room for the new, both in spirit and in substance. For the wealth builder, this means a rigorous financial audit where every subscription, every bank fee, and every underperforming asset is scrutinized. Clutter in your physical space often mirrors clutter in your portfolio, leading to decision fatigue and missed opportunities for growth. Research shows that a clean environment reduces cortisol levels, allowing for more logical and less impulsive financial decision-making in the long run. Start with your digital footprint. In 2026, zombie subscriptions are a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to drain your wealth while you sleep. Applying Oosouji means cutting those ties with the sharp edge of intentionality, freeing up cash flow that can be redirected into compounding assets. Next, we look at our physical possessions. If an item no longer serves a purpose, it is Mottainai to keep it hidden in a closet. Sell it, donate it, or recycle it. Turning stagnant physical clutter back into liquid capital is a core move for the savvy investor. This habit also applies to your investing portfolio. Every year, you must prune the dead wood, those stocks or assets that no longer fit. We often fall victim to the endowment effect, valuing what we own more than it's worth simply because we already own it. Oosouji breaks this psychological bias, forcing us to ask, if I didn't own this today, would I buy it at the current price? If the answer is no, then it is time to clean it out and reallocate that capital to a higher potential opportunity. This portfolio hygiene ensures that your wealth is always working at its maximum efficiency, much like a well-tended Japanese garden. A clean financial slate provides the mental white space necessary to spot the next big trend before the rest of the market. It's about the Pareto principle. 80% of your financial stress likely comes from 20% of your clutter. Identify it and remove it. Oosouji is not a one-time event. It is a seasonal rhythm that keeps your financial life from becoming stagnant or overly complex. When your finances are Oosouji clean, you can see your path to retirement or independence with absolute crystal clear clarity and focus. You move from a defensive posture of managing mess to an offensive posture of executing strategy with speed and precision. Now that we have cleaned our house and honored our debts, let's explore the Japanese secret to long-term endurance, the Omotenashi of money. Welcome back. We now enter the spiritual heart of Japanese business and wealth management. Habit number 7, Omotenashi. Usually translated as hospitality, Omotenashi goes much deeper. It is the art of wholeheartedly looking after guests and anticipating their needs. In the context of wealth building, Omotenashi is the ultimate long-game strategy for entrepreneurs, freelancers, and corporate leaders alike. It's the philosophy of providing such immense value that your customers or clients feel seen, respected, and deeply cared for. When you apply Omotenashi to your business, you stop chasing one-off transactions and start building a lifetime of loyal brand advocates. In our 2026 economy, where AI can replicate many services, the human touch of Omotenashi is the only truly non-commoditizable asset. It's about the hidden details, the extra follow-up, the personalized recommendation, or the ethical transparency that your competitors simply overlook. Financially, Omotenashi reduces your customer acquisition cost because your existing clients become your most effective unpaid marketing department. Research shows that increasing customer retention by just 5% can increase profits by more than 25%, a direct result of this service-first mindset. But Omotenashi also applies to how you treat your own money. You must treat your capital with the same respect as an honored guest. Are you hosting your money in a chaotic house of high-interest debt or a serene garden of diversified, high-growth assets? When you serve your money through careful management, it serves you back with compound interest and financial peace of mind. This habit requires you to be a custodian of value, ensuring that every dollar you touch leaves the world slightly better than you found it. This ethical alignment prevents guilt-based spending and builds a reputation for benevolent wealth that attracts high-level partnerships and opportunities. Think of the world's most enduring luxury brands. They don't sell products, they sell an experience of Omotenashi that justifies a premium price. You can apply this as an investor, too, by seeking out companies that prioritize stakeholder capitalism and deep customer satisfaction. These are the companies that survive recessions because their customers wouldn't dream of leaving them for a cheaper, less hospitable alternative. By practicing Omotenashi, you align your profit motive with a higher purpose, creating a sustainable loop of prosperity and social impact. It is the gentle power of wealth, winning not through aggressive competition, but through the irresistible force of superior service and care. This high-energy engagement with the world must be balanced by our next habit, which focuses on the beauty of nothingness. Habit number 8, Ma. This is one of the most vital yet misunderstood concepts in Japanese culture, referring to the space between. In music, ma is the silence between notes. In architecture, it's the empty space that gives a room its function and peace. In finance, ma is the strategic pause, the critical interval between a market stimulus and your emotional or financial response. Our 2026 world is designed to destroy ma. Notifications, 24-hour news cycles, and instant trading apps demand your constant, frantic attention. Wealth builders who master ma understand that the most profitable action in a volatile market is often absolutely no action at all. It is the discipline to wait for the perfect pitch, as Warren Buffett says, rather than swinging at every mediocre opportunity that passes. Ma is the psychological buffer that prevents FOMO, the fear of missing out, from dictating your long-term investment strategy and goals. When everyone else is rushing to buy the latest viral asset, the practitioner of Ma sits in the silence, observing and waiting. This empty space in your calendar allows for deep thinking and the second-order analysis required to spot risks others are too busy to see. Statistics show that the most successful individual investors are often those who check their accounts the least frequently, allowing Ma to work. By creating space between your thoughts and your trades, you allow the noise to settle, revealing the true signal of the market. Ma also applies to your personal life. It is the quiet time you guard fiercely to recharge your creative and decision-making batteries. Without Ma, you burn out, and a burnt-out mind makes expensive mistakes, forgets core values, and loses track of the big picture. Think of your portfolio as a Zen garden. The stones are your assets, but the raked sand, the Ma, is what makes it a masterpiece. If you fill every square inch of your life with stuff or trades, you leave no room for the unexpected black swan opportunities to land. In the economy of 2026, attention is the scarcest resource. Guarding your Ma is how you protect your most valuable financial asset. This habit turns time into your greatest ally. You stop fighting against the clock and start letting the clock work for your compounding. It is the power of the void, knowing that by doing nothing today, you are actually doing the most important work for your future. Mastering Ma gives you the cool head needed to buy when there is blood in the streets and sell when the euphoria is deafening. As we embrace the silence and the space, we prepare for our final two habits, which bridge the gap between today and eternity. As we approach the end of our journey, we must confront a hard truth in finance. The perfect plan does not exist. This brings us to habit number 9, Wabi-Sabi. It is the Japanese aesthetic that finds beauty in imperfection, impermanence, and the incomplete. In your portfolio, Wabi-Sabi is the acceptance that you will miss some market tops and buy into some temporary bottoms. Most investors fail because they chase a perfect record, leading to paralysis when things go slightly off script or a recession hits. A Wabi-Sabi approach to wealth building values imperfect progress over perfect stagnation, knowing that a 70% correct decision today beats a 100% decision too late. It is the understanding that your financial life will have cracks, unexpected expenses, market corrections, or career pivots, and that these cracks add character. Think of kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. Your financial setbacks, when repaired with wisdom, become your most valuable lessons. In the 2026 economy, where volatility is the only constant, being anti-fragile like a wabi-sabi bowl is a massive psychological and tactical advantage. You stop comparing your behind-the-scenes struggles with the highlight reels of others on social media, focusing instead on your unique, weathered path. This habit allows you to rebalance your portfolio without ego, admitting when a thesis has changed and moving forward with grace and clarity. It encourages consistent inconsistency, the habit of showing up even when your budget isn't perfect or your savings rate fluctuates slightly. By embracing the wabi-sabi of your net worth, you reduce the stress that leads to panic selling or revenge trading after a loss. You realize that wealth is a living, breathing ecosystem that naturally goes through seasons of growth, dormancy, and necessary pruning. This mindset fosters a deep sense of contentment with what is enough, protecting you from the toxic cycle of never-ending more. When you see the beauty in your humble beginnings and your steady, weathered growth, you are practicing the highest form of quiet wealth. It is the resilience of the old pine tree that has survived many winters. It isn't symmetrical, but it is deeply rooted and incredibly strong. Wabi-Sabi reminds us that the goal isn't to have the cleanest spreadsheet, but to have the most meaningful and resilient life. This acceptance of reality over fantasy prepares the ground for our 10th and final habit, which defines the why behind every dollar. Without this final piece of the puzzle, wealth is merely a number. With it, wealth becomes a legacy and a light for others. Let us step into the most profound Japanese concept of all, the intersection of your life's work and your capital. Habit number 10, Ikigai. This is your reason for being, the convergence of what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. In finance, Ikigai is the North Star that prevents you from becoming a rich person who is poor in spirit. Many people spend their lives building wealth to escape their work, but the Ikigai habit is about building wealth to deepen your work. It's the shift from how much can I get to how can I use my capital to support my mission and my purpose. When your investments and your career align with your Ikigai, you enter a state of financial flow where work doesn't feel like a drain. This creates a sustainable wealth-building engine because you aren't burning out, you are being fueled by the impact you are making. In 2026, as AI automates routine tasks, finding your human Ikigai is the best way to ensure your income remains both high and meaningful. Your quiet wealth should be the fuel for your Ikigai, allowing you to take risks on projects that matter without fear of ruin. Imagine a retirement where you don't stop working, but you stop working for money, dedicating your time entirely to your passion and your contribution. This is the ultimate wealth flex, having the freedom to say no to $1 million deal because it doesn't align with your Ikigai. By identifying your Ikigai early, you can tailor your investment strategy to support the lifestyle and the legacy you actually want to leave. Whether it's starting a foundation, supporting local artisans, or ensuring your family's multi-generational education, your money finally has a soul. We have covered 10 habits that span the spectrum of the human experience, from the physical ledger to the spiritual reason for existence. Quiet wealth isn't a destination you reach and then stop. It is a way of walking through the world with dignity, discipline, and grace. You are now equipped with the Kakeibo, Mottainai, the 70-20-10 ratio, Shokunin, Giri, Oosouji, Omotenashi, Wabi-Sabi, and Ikigai. These are not just Japanese habits, they are universal principles of human flourishing that have been refined over 1,000 years. As you move forward into the remainder of 2026 and beyond, remember that true wealth is felt in the heart before it is seen in the bank. Thank you for joining me on this journey at Finora Finance Story. It has been an honor to serve as your wealth manager and educator. Take one of these habits today, just one, and implement it with the spirit of Kaizen, the commitment to continuous small improvements. Build your fortress, find your purpose, and let your wealth speak in whispers that carry the weight of 1,000 silent successes. Stay wealthy inside and out.